political reporter for the Daily Beast, Betsy Woodruff, good enough to join us from Washington. Betsy, lots to get into here. And so this is something calling that temporary ban a suggestion in the last couple of days. It has really seemed to be a thing that Donald Trump has done to soften his stance. But then we just heard him say that he's not softening his stance at all, again, seeming to occupy both sides of the same debate in one exchange. What do you make of it?
I mean, trying to parse the vocabulary words and sentence structure he uses to explain that he simultaneously thinks something and doesn't think it and might think it is a little bit of a fool's errand, I think. It's funny how meta these conversations get. You know, we start talking about what tone is Donald Trump using to compare his current tone to his previous tone. The reality is a central part of his primary campaign was arguing that we need to have a ban on Muslims from entering the United States, either temporarily or permanently. I mean, he put it in one of his campaign videos. He made it a central selling point. He talked about it all the time. The fact that now he's saying, oh, well, that was kind of just a suggestion, maybe I don't think that. I mean, this isn't just a tone shift. This is a dramatic policy stance change, and we have to call it what it is.
Meanwhile, he is also now coming under increasing fire to release his tax returns. I actually want to play for you back and forth today that he had with George Stephanopoulos.
Do you believe voters have a right to see your tax returns before they make a final decision?
I don't think they do, but I do say this. I will really gladly give them. They're not going to learn anything, but it's under routine audit.
What is your tax rate?
It's none of your business. You'll see it when I release. But I fight very hard to pay as little tax as possible.
Two things for me then, Betsy. Let's first get to the idea that he doesn't believe voters have a right to see his returns. What do you make of it?
Well, it would be historic if he didn't release any of his tax information. He'd be the first major party nominee since, I believe, 1976 not to even release 1 year's worth of tax returns. Now, I mean, he's correct. Voters don't have a constitutional right to know what's in his taxes, but part of our political culture is a culture of transparency. We, as a country, believe that if someone wants to have the highest office, that if they want to run the IRS, you know, be responsible for the administration, that they ought to show us what kind of taxes they're paying, what their income looks like, what how their finances work. The fact that he's not doing that and he says that it's none of American voters' business is pretty much unprecedented, at least for the last couple decades.